We are talking about a devious worm here, power-hungry worm of a man. He's not going anywhere. Keir Starmer, as well as being very unpopular, is incredibly disingenuous. It's clear from the outset that Keir Starmer sought out Mandelson to be ambassador and made sure he was ambassador. Above all the other controversies, that truth means that he should take the blame and go. He's no longer a legitimate Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. This man is just waiting to go, an empty vessel. He offers us nothing. Well, statistically, the majority of the anti-Semites in this country vote for him.
Hello, it's Paul Cox here. Today I want to talk to you about Keir Starmer. Keir Starmer is something that I talk about quite a lot, but right now, why wouldn't I? Today is Monday the 20th of April, and at some point later today, Keir Starmer will appear in front of a select committee, as will Ollie Robbins, both asked to discuss exactly what went on with the failures with regards to Peter Mandelson's security checks, vetting process, etc., as ambassador to the United States. Now, as we now know, he failed that, and what we're expected to believe is that Ollie Robbins and his team as senior civil servants kept all of this information from Keir Starmer, and Keir Starmer had absolutely no idea whatsoever that Peter Mandelson had failed his vetting. I find that to push the bounds of credibility, to say the least. Personally, I think it's a whopping great lie. I think it's impossible for Keir Starmer not to have known anything, even if process was followed and Ollie Robbins didn't tell Keir Starmer. Why, given everything that he'd said publicly, would someone not have tipped him off? Why would he have not asked the questions himself? Why would he have not been curious enough? So I discussed this last night on two shows on GB News. First of all, on the Alex Armstrong Late Edition, hosted on this occasion by Will Kingston, brilliantly, I may add. And as a bit of a palate cleanser, I set my stall out as to what I thought was likely to happen.
Paul Cox. Paul, you're coming in hot off the pine. I will start with you. This is a day of reckoning for Starmer, but I believe we've said that before on GB News shows, and he's managed to slip his way out of it. How do you see tomorrow going?
Well, I think you always hope for the best and plan for the worst, and the best would be that Keir Starmer's gone. The worst would be that he stays. Look at the timeline of what happened this week. Tuesday, the finding of the report. Wednesday, PMQ's opportunity number one to tell the rest of to tell Parliament what he knew with regards to Mandelson and his DV check. Thursday, the story comes out. Friday, the cover-up begins. Sunday is today, and what we're hearing today is everyone coming out and batting for Starmer. Some of the most ludicrous interviews I've seen in a very long time. You only have to look at Miller Tomley's show this morning with regards to Tom Hayes. So the argument that they will give you is that, OK, we found out Tuesday, we didn't go to Parliament on Wednesday because we didn't know the facts, we wanted to find the facts out. I would argue that they've used since Tuesday night to now to find out how they're going to cover his tracks, how they can create enough plausible deniability, and that's exactly what's going to play out this week. What we're going to find out is that slippery Starmer is incredibly slippery, and he will get away with this.
That's me setting my stall out there. I don't think there's any surprises. Most of us knew what I thought. You probably shared that sentiment too. Cut forward about an hour, and I am on The Late Show Live, which is GB News' show, hosted by Ben Leo from Washington, DC. And I select the Daily Mail, which has the headline, "Day Starmer has to stand up and take the blame." And I use this opportunity to really let loose about what I think. And I put Sadiq Khans into this as well for good measure, because I see them as two heads of one sinister snake. Listen to this.
Right, let's look at the front page of the Daily Mail tomorrow. It's about Keir Starmer standing up and taking the blame. Will he do that in the Commons tomorrow? Paul Cox, you're down the line. What do you take of what we are expected to see in just a few hours in Parliament with Keir Starmer? Will he take the blame?
It's inconceivable that Sir Keir Starmer will take the blame. It's utterly against everything the man stands for. We are talking about a devious worm here, power-hungry worm of a man. He's not going anywhere. He's absolutely not going anywhere. There will be enough plausible deniability. Listen to everything that Jonathan Liss said. Jonathan wasn't wrong. There was just enough plausible deniability there. Keir Starmer, as well as being very unpopular, is incredibly disingenuous. It's clear from the outset that Keir Starmer sought out Mandelson to be ambassador and made sure he was ambassador. Above all the other controversies, that truth means that he should take the blame and go, because he needs to live by the sword and die by the sword. There's endless video footage of him saying that he wouldn't chuck his staff under the bus. He's done that. That, the buck stops with Boris Johnson. So Boris Johnson must go because of cake. The idea that Keir Starmer now is legitimate in any way, other than the fact that people did vote for him in 2024, which I'm not disputing, by the way, but he's no longer a legitimate Prime Minister of the United Kingdom. This man is just waiting to go, an empty vessel. He offers us nothing. I mean, you just take the previous story, for instance. Keir Starmer's wife is Jewish. Keir Starmer has done absolutely nothing. Now, there's lots of rhetoric, and people can point to that, but Keir Starmer has done absolutely nothing with regards to the anti-Semitism problem in this country. And that's because, statistically, the majority of the anti-Semites in this country vote for him, or have voted for him. And this is key. This is not just hyperbole for me. Keir Starmer will do anything to get into power. He'll change the colour of his... I'm so wound up about this. The idea that Keir Starmer's a socialist, he hoodwinked the whole of the far left into voting for him, then changed immediately. As soon as he got into power, he was no longer about Britain first or UK first. It was totally Eurocentric once again. We've got this situation now where we've got a sitting duck Prime Minister who is, just like I say, an empty vessel, doing nothing for this country, and once again it's been proven that he's a liar. The man is an outright liar. There's no two ways about it.
OK, well, either he did lie or he was so incompetent, and he's not lying, but he was so incompetent that he didn't know what was going on in his own government, and he allowed the friend of a paedophile, that he appointed the friend of a paedophile to be the ambassador. I mean, that for me alone is enough. Keir Starmer would say, Paul, I know you've said he's done nothing for anti-Semitism. He's just ordered a review into anti-Semitism for the NHS. He got rid of Corbyn, I guess, although he did at one point want him to become Prime Minister.
Look, I understand that, Ben, and that's why I talk about the rhetoric, because you can point to several things that perhaps Keir Starmer may have paid lip service to. But the fact that he's on a submarine somewhere on a photograph opportunity with the Mirror trying to distract us all whilst the latest scandal plays itself out, and there's yet another anti-Semitic attack in North London, this time in Harrow, and he's doing nothing about it. He's nowhere to be seen. So, also Sadiq Khan as well. Sadiq Khan, where is he on this? There will be some sort of video tomorrow at some point that he's hastily put together before he gets onto the other nonsense, talking about how it's not acceptable and multiculturalism is our strength. Multiculturalism is Sadiq Khan's strength, as long as it doesn't include the people he disagrees with, and that is the Jewish people.
Yeah. OK, Paul. The thing for me about Starmer is, unlike Boris Johnson, I'm not a fan of Boris Johnson. I think he was one of the worst prime ministers we've had in recent decades. But Boris didn't go around saying, I'm such a principled guy. I'm so holier than thou. I'm this, I'm that. I'm going to clean up politics. Keir Starmer does it, and he goes around making out he's some sort of grand bastion of morality. And the truth is, he's worse. He's just as bad as everybody else, as all of them. And it's just like, it's just fake. Paul,
you're right about the masses.
We're running out of time, unfortunately, so we'll catch up in the next hour.
I was quite clearly fairly emotive about that last night, and that's because I care deeply about this country. I care deeply about changing the direction of travel we are currently in, and I believe that Keir Starmer and, of course, Sadiq Khan are incredibly problematic, to use the words of the left, when it comes to saving Great Britain. I make no apologies for getting upset. I make no apologies for making my case. People have to say what they think in order to enact change. I have a small platform and I'm very grateful for it. Thank you very much for watching, and please do like, subscribe and share. But far too many people play conventional politics. Far too many people sit on the fence and make out that, you know, the only way to deal with this is the conventional way, which is slowly, catchy monkey, change things over time, have adult debate, which I believe this is, by the way, and therefore just hope at some point that we see change. I'm not for that anymore. We are at the point of no return. What's the point now of sitting on the fence? That's what I would say. Anyway, talking about sitting on the fence, I don't do it again. And we cover a story here with regards to Sadiq Khan, who put out a tweet yesterday, which he subsequently deleted. It's rumoured that he had made a mistake on when he believed that St George's Day was. I don't know if that's true or not. And my sentiment and everything I'm about to say, I stand by.
In a now deleted social media post, the Mayor of London, Sadiq Khan, Sir Sadiq Khan to you, posted this picture saying, "I've always said London's diversity is our greatest strength. Today, on St George's Day, I'm joined by interfaith leaders from across London. We come together to celebrate all that unites us and affirm St George's Day flag as a symbol that belongs to us all." Simon, when is St George's Day?
April 23rd, I believe.
So why is Sadiq Khan, Sir Sadiq Khan, a man who wants to bring the country and the capital together, saying that St George's Day is today?
I think he is desperately trying to counter the narrative that they don't want people to fly Union flags, British flags, St George's crosses because it's racist. So I think he's, he's a politician and he's making a political move. And perhaps, I don't know, maybe in some other countries, because St George is the patron saint, I think, of Greece, as well as England and a few others. Does the day vary from country to country?
No, he just got it wrong.
He just got it wrong,
Simon.
That's more credible.
Paul, he's Sadiq Khan. Doesn't even know when St George's Day is. I mean, it says it all.
Look, it just really plays into the hands of people like you and I and the vast majority of the GB News family. All it does is validate all the things we've ever said about Sadiq Khan, which he is not for London and he's not especially for Great Britain. When I say he's not for London, he believes he's for London. He sees himself as this messiah himself. He's creating London in his own image. London's the capital of Great Britain. Great Britain isn't what Sadiq Khan says it is. Sadiq Khan is so out of tune, he doesn't even know when our patron saint day is, and it's on the 23rd of April, Sadiq. I'm sure you're watching in your special dinosaur pyjamas. But he's a fool. The man's a fool, Ben.
A fool indeed. A very powerful fool, though. He presides over the Metropolitan Police Transport for London and about 8 million people, if the census is to be believed, across Greater London. Look, all the time we've got people that submit in this way, care not about great British values, or co-opt, skew and deliberately create cognitive dissonance, i.e. gaslight the public about what British values are, we are going to find ourselves in this trouble. This doesn't really serve anybody, and the people that think they're being served by this type of politics are just pawns in the game. Anyway, if you like this video, if you like this content, then please do subscribe, like and share. My subscribership has been growing exponentially in recent months, and I'd just like to say a huge thank you for that. That support means the world to me. Please do put in the comments if there's anything you'd like me to cover. I will be continuing with the This Is series. You will see at least another 1 or 2 of those this week. The This Is series is where I cover the words, the phrases, the organisations, the things that are often talked about in the culture war / political debate, but perhaps you're not entirely familiar with what it means exactly. And I produce elementary level content which helps us all understand that, so when we're having the debate ourselves, we can be as informed as possible. Thank you very much for your support. Until next time, do keep it real.